I'd like to see. I don't know if there is a movie with both of them in it, but I would love to see.
Could you imagine that? One of them, they could alternate by
This unit.
yeah, and who's the yeah. Hello everyone.
Hi.
Welcome back to the A-List Admission.
Ooh, episode number 4.
I know, I can't believe it's 4 already. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It's been already a 4-week journey. Well, a 3-week journey that we did 2 episodes in the.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, excuse my appearance. I just really wanted to be comfy cozy. It's also really cold where we filmed, so I get cold fast. He gets hot fast.
Yeah, maybe we make this a normal thing. Cheyenne's wearing the only issue with the hoodie is that, or hers is technically called the comfy. The only issue with me is that I get way too hot, way too fast.
Yeah, I don't know why you're wearing the hoodie.
I know I'm still hot, but I'm not taking this off.
Yeah.
I'm already committed to it.
What's first? Oh, so first things first, I want to do a slight update for anyone who is interested on our little debacle of Inception.
Yes, whether Inception is a heist movie or not.
Yeah. So again, after the whole banter, we actually still talked about it with a couple other people. With my parents, we had this discussion. So after looking back on it and looking it up online, I do see that it says it's like sci-fi action heist. So I understand that it's a heist. I just have to consider the fact that it's a modern take on a heist and they're implanting, not extracting stuff like a traditional heist.
Yeah.
So yes, you're right.
You need to get over your biases. Is what I'm hearing.
Ah, shut up.
All right, guys. Another thing, quickly,
Yeah.
I'd like to add is that we've been posting TikTok
Yeah.
like crazy.
Yeah.
So whether it's clips of this podcast, so I will release those, or try to release those every Thursday, Saturday.
I
and
do-
on top of that, me and Cheyenne have our own little thing that we do. It's called Pop or Flop.
Yeah. And I really enjoy doing those actually. So it's right after we go see a movie, whether it's in our car right after the movie or at home once we get home from seeing the movie, and just like a quick 20-ish second video talking about we saw blank, and pop means we liked it, flop means not so much. And I think we haven't had a flop yet,
Which is crazy.
which is great.
Great in terms of like movie viewing pleasure.
But also I'm worried. I'm like, are we that open-minded? Like, oh, everything is a pop. Like, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking the same
Yeah,
thing.
because one of the ones we saw today, I was contemplating whether to flop it, but I kept it as a pop. So
Well, I
yeah.
think it's a pop. But the other thing was that I wanted to mention in particular is that we post these to TikTok, we post these to Instagram, and we post this to YouTube, like the YouTube Shorts. And obviously with the US doing their TikTok ban and all that,
if it happens, anyway,
yeah.
it's
So-
so up in the air.
Whether or not that ever does fully get implemented and there's no TikTok in the US, we are still posting it. We're in Canada. We still have TikTok for the time being.
The whole like the UK has it. Everywhere else has it.
Right. So no matter what, whether we don't grow our audience on TikTok through the US, we're still posting. I don't
And we
care.
still have Spotify.
Exactly. So yeah, keep tuned, keep in tune, whatever the actual phrase is. For whatever reason, I'm blanking right now. But
I don't even know.
tune in. Just
Keep in tune.
Yes. And yeah, check us out on all the platforms.
Yeah.
I
I
know
do-
we usually save this part to the end. Actually, fuck it, we'll just save this part to the end. But
Well, you've heard it mildly once. You'll hear it again later.
exactly.
I
Alright,
do-
Let's go into the reviews. The 2 movies we are talking about. I
do- So yes, we saw
Sorry.
2 movies. We also realized that there was another movie that another 2 movies that randomly came out though.
Yes. So one of them was
The Last Showgirls.
Thank you. Then there's another one I can't remember right now. It's another.
So they were both, I believe, either at TIFF, which is the Toronto International Film Festival,
Mhm.
or another film festival of some kind. The Last Showgirl, I believe, was TIFF. That's the one with Pamela Anderson.
Yes.
The other one has Tilda Swinton in it.
Yeah. Well, regardless of if
Yeah.
we don't remember it at any point of the video, it'll come up on the side. So
Yeah.
you'll see the poster.
So yeah.
But-
Anyway, those movies we didn't realize came out.
Yeah, we literally looked this up yesterday, and they were like, "Oh shoot!" We was like,
There's 2 more movies.
2 more movies. So we watched 2 movies this week that we're gonna review. The first one being Wolfman. Yeah,
The second one being One of Them Days.
yeah. Sorry, I threw that at Cheyenne. I just tried like.
Like, and go.
But yeah, so if there's not a lot of movies next week, we will recap the other 2.
Yeah.
The one that is coming out next week is called Flight Plan.
You think it would be called that, but it's actually called Flight Risk.
I know I keep screwing that name up. Cheyenne has corrected me that name so much, but Flight Risk is
yeah.
the movie. If
With my doppelganger.
with Matt Damon, well, Mark Wahlberg. But if
Yeah,
that
we,
ends up being the only movie
Yeah.
that comes out next week, or one of even 2 movies that
Yeah.
come out next week, we will make the time and watch the other 2 that we missed this
Yeah.
week.
No biggie.
Cool.
So
All right.
yeah, let's go.
You want to start with Wolfman then?
Me or you go first. You go first.
We'll do Wolf. So
Okay.
first one we watched was Wolfman. Watched that on Thursday. It's a retelling of the Wolfman, like werewolf kind of origin story kind of idea. Well, I mean, we'll get into movie monsters
But yeah, it's
later.
a take on a
Yeah.
classic movie.
Yeah. So that, and that's exactly it, right? So it's a classic take on the werewolf story, the wolf, the man becoming werewolf kind of
Dates.
thing. And it's okay, we'll just dive right into it. I thought it was okay. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
great. Like I
Yeah.
think there was a lot of things that I can take away from that I wish they had improved on, and then there were some things that
Oh,
were
yeah.
kind of fun. I think that there's like I'll admit that my review of it initially was a lot higher than when I've had time to think about it.
Wait, your review's higher now?
Other way around.
Oh,
It was higher when we watched it. Now it's gotten
Yeah.
worse as time has gone on.
I give you that.
I think it's because simply just the movie I thought so apart from like the movie picks up quick. So it starts it starts like your traditional slow kind of horror-esque movie, and then it just kind of jumps right the heck in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's short kind of too.
Yeah.
Both movies we saw were around an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh yeah, so this week is definitely a short movie week.
Yeah.
But hey, that's fine. I don't need
Well, I don't like
I don't want a 2.5-hour movie every time we go to the theater.
I don't also want a 2.5-hour Wolfman movie. If it's gonna be the same as what we saw, I'm
Yeah,
glad
so
it was the length it was.
Yeah. So to jump into the review, I don't know. The Wolfman himself, I thought looked meh, like,
I
very meh.
I think I don't remember who made the device from the old Wolfman, but like that whole jaw looking model
Was cooler.
was cooler. I don't know if it was Jack Pierce. I know he did the makeup for the original, but that was cooler and it was wolfier.
Yeah, like it was just looked like more of a man, a hairy was
Sound like a caveman.
yeah,
there.
a hairy deformed man. That it looked more
Sick.
werewolf kind of thing. Yeah, he looked sick.
He looked like a wolfman, not a werewolf.
Fair. And I was expecting werewolf more. than
I think
was
so.
expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my one thing. The second thing that I had with it is just I don't know. I felt like they were trying too much to validate it being because in the movie they become a wolfman by a sickness, right? I think that's what they did. Isn't it?
They?
No. Well, like
Yeah,
I mean,
no spoilers.
like the person
No,
becomes.
he becomes by an illness.
I think it's
well,
a sickness instead of like
a sickness from something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they tried too hard to justify that plot line than just focusing on, ooh, let's make him look like a werewolf. Let's make them like really fall into that savagery.
Well, this is A24 too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't remember. I think
Okay.
it is, but I can't remember. Yeah. So I think they just focused too much on the backstory of it and not so much, hey, this is a werewolf movie. Let's make this a really good werewolf movie.
So I thought it was very choppy. I thought the storyline was very choppy in terms of like there's one scene that discusses him and his wife's personal life, and then they go to the cabin, and then things happen, and he becomes a wolfman, and that's the end. I just thought it was very choppy, and it wasn't flowy or cohesive enough for me to enjoy it. Because I was really looking forward to this because I love classic movie monsters. All of them, I'm fine with.
Is this the first horror movie of this year?
I think so.
Dates. Yeah.
There's definitely a lot coming.
Oh yeah.
Like a shit ton coming of horror.
But I think this
But
is the first one.
I don't even not horror, but like
It's horror.
it's meant to be horror. Yes. Oh my gosh, no. I don't. Is it horror or not horror?
No, it's definitely horror. If it's a classic
horror,
movie,
but, like,
it's horror.
Sure. Yeah, it's meant to be, and I'm sure to like the non horror fan, they could get freaked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah. So my overall rating for this movie is going to be a 5. I think it's
Yeah,
very meh.
I'd give it a 5 because it's not great, but it's not the worst movie I've
It's
seen.
definitely not bad. Like they could have done a lot of things to make the movie worse, but
I
I think there's just a lot that they could have improved on this movie at the same time.
I mean, if you want to say horror, I preferred this over Nosferatu.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%.
that's horror as well.
Yeah.
That's definitely a horror as well, but I would prefer this, like, Wolfman over Nosferatu.
Oh, absolutely.
But I need to give Nosferatu another watch because I keep seeing just raving reviews. Oh, I hit my nose. I have a big schnoz. Yeah, raving reviews on Nosferatu. So we must have missed something.
I heard the same thing. Like a buddy of mine when his buddies went to go see it last weekend,
Yeah.
and he's gonna go see it this weekend.
Mm.
But I've heard from him that all of the people that he's talked to about it and love it. And
Yeah,
think it's great.
we must have missed
I
something.
don't know. Anyway.
But that's a whole other can of worms. For this movie, I'm fine giving it a 5.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot that it could have improved on.
Yeah.
But I also think it did have a lot of things right. Like I still think it fulfilled the classic movie monster
Yeah.
trope. I think it also still is interesting enough to follow. I think that
It went by quick, I will say. Like, it
Yeah.
never lulled for me.
That's a really
Yeah.
good point. Is
Yeah.
most movies, if we think that are very slow and boring, like Nosferatu,
Yeah.
but there it took so long to get to the point.
Yeah, and there
Yes.
was multiple points in this. So it always got to another point.
Yeah, and it never felt at any point where like, is this movie done yet? Like,
No,
it-
I never thought that once. And then when it ended, I was like, oh, I thought it could have kept going. I get why it did. But yeah, again, for me, it was just there was so much lack of cohesion with like scene with the personal life, his father's in it. But the actors were pretty good. The one who plays the wife, again, I don't know her name. We've seen
I'll
her.
write it in.
We've seen her in something that she was good in too.
Yeah.
Like they were all very decent. The daughter was okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, kid actors are all kind of the same.
Cheyenne
now
has
for
a-
me.
Cheyenne has a thing against kid actors.
No.
Yes.
No.
Every time there's a movie with a child in it, I'm like, oh, everyone acted pretty good. No, the child was okay.
So there was a movie that we saw not too long ago, and I remember liking the kid. But as I say that, he was in Wolves, and it was the college kid. It wasn't like a little.
Oh yeah, so he's a 20-year-old man. Not
Okay,
a
so
kid.
then it depends on the child actor. I will give some of the credit, like the girl who played Dora in Dora the Explorer.
Wasn't she like a teenager in that movie?
She was
20-year-old?
in a movie like a few years young when she
Oh
was
yeah,
a few years younger.
that's also Isabella Merced,
What?
the one thought we talked about when I talked about Madame Web.
Oh yes, her. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't mind her. So there's some people, and obviously the old child actors I grew to love anyway,
Mm.
like Macaulay Culkin and stuff like that. But yeah, Wolfman 5 for me.
Yeah, 5, absolutely. Before we continue, completely forgot to mention this at the top. We are still dealing with audio issues. So today we added one microphone to see if that'll fix anything.
Yeah, and yeah, we have headphones split on the mic, and I mean we did a test beforehand and it seems decent.
Let's hope.
But every time we hear it, we always think it sounds decent. So like prayers, please, fingers crossed that it.
because I want to
work.
use the microphones.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert, the last 2 videos I've used the phone audio. That's what we're recording this on, is our phones. But I want to use the microphone that we buy because it's good quality, or it's supposed to be good quality, and it's supposed to do the job.
yeah,
But when we plug in 2 microphones for whatever reason,
Yeah.
it just freaks the hell out.
and yeah, like Logitech is trying to help us troubleshoot. So we are actively doing fixes, as we always mention.
Yeah.
But we always like to mention it 'cause we're Canadian. We just feel bad.
Sorry.
Hey,
All right.
okay.
Second
so,
movie.
Second movie we just saw a couple hours ago, and it is One of Them Days.
Yep.
With Kiki Palmer and SZA of all people, which
Yeah,
I thought was
I was surprised too.
yeah. So like, I think that's what made me excited to see it was actually see like just a full blooded musician act.
I mean,
Kiki
Palmer
Palmer is a musician,
also
but she was actress like first, or at least known actress first. That's True Jackson VP,
fair enough.
you know, and then not all of Jordan Peele's movies, but like his
Two, at
movies. Yeah, at least 2 of his movies. So she's definitely made it big in acting.
Wait, no, only one.
What's the only one?
It was in
The one with the aliens?
Nope.
Nope.
That was the only one she was in.
Okay. Well, I've seen her in something else recently. Whatever. Anyway, my point is Kiki Palmer, I've always thought of her as actress first, singer second. SZA is just singer for me.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought was really interesting, is that SZA was also, I think, one of the producers.
Oh,
Of
yeah?
the movie, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the trailer looked funny. It wasn't my go-to movie because it was not my type of humor necessarily, like, it just didn't seem as funny as I wanted it to be, but I was obviously willing to give it a try because the essence of it, of being, like, 2 girls, they need rent, they have a day to get their rent before they get evicted.
Yeah.
That kinda concept I've seen in a lot of movies and heard in a lot of movies, but a new spin on it with,
Yeah.
like, both really good, like, strong women in their field. So I was really excited to see that. Um, Overall, I actually thought it was way better than I thought, which was nice. The only issue I had, mild issue, but I have an issue with hearing out of one ear, sort of, and, I thought they talked really fast,
Fair.
and I was like, I could have probably used subtitles or one of those CC devices in the theater where you can read closed captions, but they just talked really fast at times. So, like, I heard it and I got the joke, but it was on almost a little bit of a delay because my brain had to process what they said first.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
overall, I loved, like, actually, they were ghetto girls, like, that's a claim they made in the movie, they were from the ghetto, essentially,
Yeah.
but I still loved their, like, ghetto fashion, their vibe, they're both gorgeous
Yeah.
as well. SZA's absolutely beautiful, Kiki also absolutely beautiful, but I also loved them as, like, their sisterly bond, even though they're not sisters, I thought was great, having another nepo baby in it, I think it's Iris Apatow, she was in it.
Yes, I remember it's an Apatow.
Pretty sure it's Iris in this one, but
I'll confirm it.
Another Apatow was in Young Werther. If not Iris, it was their other daughter.
Yep.
So yeah, another nepo baby. But overall, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give my rating yet. You go.
Yeah, I completely agree. I thought, to be honest with you, not a movie that we would see at all. Like it was one of those like not that like a bland comedy is not something we'd go for. It's just I don't know. This one, and there's been movies like this in the past. This one, they just don't seem like our kind of movie.
I think it's not even that it's bland because it's not bland. It's the plot we've seen so often.
Fair.
How can they make it?
Right. But like, and
Yeah.
then kind of like what Cheyenne said, I love Kiki Palmer. And then since I wasn't sure how she was gonna do, but a part of me was like, well, I want to watch it truly because of Kiki Palmer, but also because this podcast. So it's kind of like, again, I said this I think last week as well.
Yeah.
This podcast has given us a new drive to see movies we would never go see.
Yeah.
And every single time, at least in 2025, and then blown out of the water. Like I've been surprised every time. Like
Yeah.
when we went to go see Baby Girl, same thing. Didn't expect it to be any good. It was really, really good. And this one was no exception. I think this one, the acting was great. But both of them as co-leads were perfection. I thought
Yeah. And it was funny.
it was funny. It was interesting. The plot wasn't. It was realistic, but not also just a little tad of like over exaggeration.
Especially at the end when they
Yeah,
update
yeah,
on
of
everyone and stuff.
But like the over exaggeration part didn't feel like so out of left field
Yeah.
that it was impossible. Yeah, I don't know. Just felt very grounded and very like light and very
Not a not a
what's the word? I'm trying to think. Like very relatable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think the thing I liked too was that the trailer for the movie showcased everything, like the scenes that you see in the trailer, you do see in the movie, but they're not spoilers of the movie, if that makes sense.
Completely agree.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So like the scene where like SZA says like you be that girl kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
it's in the movie, but it did not spoil that scene because
No.
there was more to it in the movie. So yeah, and this was a few minutes shorter of Wolfman.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't feel like there was any huge lulls or anything. A
Nope.
couple scenes did make me a little anxious, but I just get anxious at certain scenes really fast.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is really, but
Yeah.
yeah. So this one I'd definitely give more than Wolfman, probably not by much. I'd give it like a 6.4.
I was gonna do a 6.5. So the fact that you
Oh,
did
I almost did 6.5, so
what's the difference between that 0.1?
the talking fast.
That 0.1
That 0.1 makes all the
is
difference.
that's funny, but whatever. But yeah, so 6.5. It seems like kind of all around.
Yeah, I'll say 6.5 is fine. Because you're such a stickler for 5 or
It's just
divisible by 5.
easier.
Like
No.
the volume on the TV.
Oh yeah, but I think that's most people. I think most
I
people
think that
have
is
that
most
weird thing.
people.
It's either a 0
Or
or
divisible by
5.
5.
I mean, some people are okay with like 2, 2, 4, 5, 6,
I used to
8.
care so much, and I still do care about numbers. TV is the one thing I don't give a crap about.
No, it matters a lot. And if it on like a 33, no, it has to either go to 30
I just
or
do it till I
35.
can hear it. Because again, it's a hearing issue for
Fair.
me, not
But
enough.
then I'd rather it be too loud than too quiet. So then
I worry that it's gonna be too loud for someone else in the vicinity of where I'm watching.
fair. But they can suffer. Freak you.
True.
My OCD matters more than their happiness.
True.
Freak you. So
Yeah.
those are the 2 reviews that we got out of the way. Just to recap, I guess. Wolfman, I would recommend if you do like your classic movie monster, just don't have the expectation that it's gonna look like super, super werewolfy.
Freak you.
But apart from that, yeah, like if you are like a beginner to horror, this is a good one because it's not super scary, but it's a little bit more thrilling. And then yeah, if you're a fan of classic movie monsters, or if you're a fan of horror, it's fine. It's not gonna just freak you out. That's it.
No, I definitely won't. And one of them days I think is fun to see for not even the fact that it's 2 girls, so it's not a chick flick per se, but it's just fun. A random movie, if you've seen everything and want to see something, go see that. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I think I think to speak on that movie is it's a good highlight on like strong independent women.
Yeah.
So if you kind of want like a women empowerment movie, it'd be great. Obviously, it's not just that. It's a good comedy, like easy comedy to take in. Yeah, yeah. I think if you wanted like a good relaxing movie to watch, that movie's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now we're gonna go into the second half of the episode, talk about one of the 2 movies in blown up fashion. And so Wolfman was the one we decided to do because, man, I don't know another time we're going to talk about classic movie monsters.
Not yet. I don't know.
Apart from possibly Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
I've said even is a thing.
Yeah, because I still haven't found a movie.
I don't.
For that.
And well, I don't know if it would even be released this year.
So we figured hey, it's a good time to talk about classic movie monsters. And I'm going to bring it to the person who's a pro at classic movie monsters to start us off.
Oh, okay.
You're definitely the pro.
So, I guess so. More just I've always loved classic movie monsters. Because I've gone to Universal Studios so much. That big thing for them was classic movie monsters. Especially their new park, Epic Universe, opens May 22nd of this year. We're both very, very excited about this. But in their new park, they're gonna have like a classic movie monster area.
Yeah.
They've shown bits and pieces for I know Frankenstein for sure is gonna be part of it, but they've shown bits and pieces of different themes of all the park, and it looks like it's gonna be great. I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah.
Like live and in person, because they always had they had a Monsters Cafe. They used to have a couple different things way back when. They had a Beetlejuice review. They got replaced by a Fast and Furious ride, or got replaced a bunch of times by things, but yeah, it got replaced by that. So just bringing that back will be great, and I know a lot of fans of the Universal Park will be very excited to see that back.
Yeah.
Also too at Universal, when he finally went for the first time with me, I got to show him the Universal's Orlando Horror Makeup Show. And funny enough, there is the actual like the animatronic from Wolfman, showing how they did the mouth movements and stuff and stretching out his jaw and whatever. You get to see that in the show, and it's just a really, really funny show. I highly recommend it if you go to that theme park.
I was gonna say it's one of the shows that every time we've gone, because I think now with Cheyenne, I've gone 3 or 4 times now. And every single time we go, we watch that horror show, I think like 4 or 5, 6 times.
Yeah, the women in it are really funny. There's also a couple men who do it too. They're just really, really funny comedians. I think they make it great.
Yeah, and without them, that show does not run nearly as fun.
Yeah.
But still, like you get to see a lot of the prosthetics or the methods of how they make those classic monsters and bring them to life.
So it's fun and factual, which I really appreciate. But we were gonna kind of just do some like fun fast facts about some classic movie monsters.
Probably the most famous,
most notable ones for sure.
All right, cool. So the first one we're gonna bring up is Dracula. So the first ever Dracula came out in 1931. It was portrayed by Bela Lugosi.
No, so close.
How do you pronounce it?
What did you say?
Lugosi.
Oh yeah.
It's portrayed by Bela Lugosi. Based on Bram Stoker's 1897 novel, Lugosi's iconic accent became synonymous with vampires, though he was from Hungary, not Pennsylvania. The film avoided showing Dracula's fangs due to early Hollywood censorship, which
That's so yeah.
I was gonna say it's insane.
It's so interesting considering what isn't censored now.
But also, what's so iconic to vampires and Dracula
Yeah.
alike, right?
Yeah.
Like their fangs is what makes Dracula Dracula.
Yeah.
Well, not just that, but like a big sign of any kind of vampire movie is for the fangs.
Things. Yeah. One of the big things.
And then the last one, or the last bit, what we were gonna do was kind of relate that to movies that we've seen that are more modern. To kind of, because let's be real, not a lot of you are gonna watch the 1931 version of Dracula.
No, but there's some movies that are more modern that you can easily get a gist of that movie monster or the next one's coming that like are modern and there might not be the first thing you think of when you think of Dracula.
Right, but then there are also ones that we would recommend as good movies, whether it's for your family or for you.
Yeah.
So, like the first one that we thought of was Hotel Transylvania with Adam Sandler and his amazing cast of friends that have joined, like Kevin James and oh my gosh, why am I thinking of some whatever?
Well,
Like
Fran Drescher's in it. That makes me laugh too.
yeah,
But yeah, no, that's a good one.
right, and that one is kind of obviously a very kid friendly version, but in a kind of like a more not mocking version of it, but more of like a lighthearted version of Dracula. But I mean, and a bunch of other movie monsters that we'll talk about in a second too. in
Yeah.
there.
And then also, if you go on like the opposite end of that movie, there's the miniseries that BBC did that was just called Dracula. I am obsessed with that one. It was only 3 episodes.
And I think each one is about an hour and a half long.
Yeah, they're about an hour and a half. So each one is a movie length, but they never did add more to it. I wish they did. The first episode is fantastic. That's such a good first episode.
But that one is also very tried and true classic story of Dracula.
Well, it's like Voyage of the Demeter. It's the same.
Yeah, but that
that is on the Demeter.
of course. But
Yeah.
like, so the first episode deals with just your very traditional Dracula, like in Transylvania.
Mhm.
Then Demeter is more of a story that not many people know about.
Mhm.
And then the third episode being the modern.
The third one I didn't like as much, but the whole series as a whole is really good.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely recommend if obviously for kids, if you want to introduce them to the trope of movie monsters, Dracula in Hotel Transylvania is a good one. They also obviously Frankenstein, the Wolf Man,
Invisible Man too.
yeah, the Mummy. I guess the Blob is also in that. I guess, but yeah, like I think it's really cool. And then if you want your tried and true Dracula movie or show, the BBC Dracula's phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, so then after Dracula is of course Frankenstein.
Mhm.
Also came out in 1931. That was by Boris Karloff, also really well known back in the day. And he obviously this is a well-known thing by now, I think, 'cause it's been corrected so much, but Frankenstein is of course the doctor or scientist who makes Frankenstein or oh my gosh, I just did it.
Yeah.
Who makes his monster. That's Frankenstein's monster, but the movies are all called Frankenstein to some degree.
Of course.
Interestingly enough, Boris Karloff had to wear 48 pounds of makeup and costume. And back in the 30s too, I can just imagine there's probably not good AC, not good like keep the sweat off, you'd be dying.
But could you imagine carrying 48 pounds of anything, like a backpack or something? Like people who go on hikes and stuff.
And Jim Carrey did it with the Grinch. He had that full suit, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, but like imagine that doing that in just makeup.
Yeah.
Oh, I can
Wow.
imagine.
Well, it was with the costume, it was 48 pounds, but still.
Sure, but no,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah. So this is where Jack Pierce does come in because the look was designed by Jack Pierce, who's a really well-known horror makeup artist. This being one of his biggest. He's the one who did those like neck bolts and the idea of the flat head. So we can thank him.
I was gonna say, I guess for a hit without him, we wouldn't have had the
We would
very classic movie look of what Frankenstein's monster looked like.
we wouldn't have had a lot of things from
Okay.
movies in general. His makeup artistry is premium. I love it. Yeah, so then movies to get an essence of a new Frankenstein that, again, like Ricky said, you probably wouldn't be sitting down to watch the 30s version of Frankenstein unless you're a nut for classic movie monsters. But 2 movies that we thought of. One that another kid friendly, if you want to mention that.
Yes, it's Frankenweenie. It's a Disney movie.
Tim Burton.
Yeah, Tim Burton, Disney, a take on the Frankenstein. I think there's a live action version and an animated version of both.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I personally would recommend the animated one. I feel like that one is the like classic.
Stop motion?
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. To me, it's just very cute take on Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster, and it kind of gives you an inside look at what Frankenstein probably was thinking when he made the monster.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was just a very lighthearted version of Frankenstein, and
Yeah.
also one that a lot of kids can relate to as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Other movie we thought of was one that I have seen and you have not yet.
no.
Is Victor Frankenstein, and that has James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe in it. I actually really liked it. It did not get good reviews at the theater. But again, I kind of like. I don't want to say bad movies, but I do kind of like movies that are not given the best reviews. So I liked it.
Yeah.
And it's closer to the classic-ish version of Frankenstein than Frankenweenie, obviously. If you know, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But yeah, that's another good option too if you want to see like a newer version of a Frankenstein-esque movie.
Okay. All right, and then the next one came out in 1941 is The Wolfman. So obviously, this is where the movie this week ties into this one. Portrayed by Lon Chaney Jr., popularized werewolf mythology in Hollywood, which we've seen in so
So many.
movies.
Yeah.
Took about 6 hours to apply the yak hair makeup and over an hour to remove it.
Wow.
Yeah, like
That's crazy though. An hour to remove 6 hours worth of makeup.
they probably would just treat it like a wax.
I'm
Like just
Yeah, I'm trying to think how I guess I'm assuming they used not nail glue, but like makeup glue, I guess, to stick it on. But
I mean, this is also 1941.
I know.
So whatever the method was,
Glue.
easily was a rippable thing.
Yeah.
Whether that tortured the tortured Lon Chaney or not, well
Yeah.
I can imagine.
It's tricky too, because what supplies could they find? This is essentially in the middle of World War II.
Oh yeah,
So it's gonna have to be just straight up glue
yeah, it's
to some
just
degree.
glue.
Just regular, probably Elmer's. That's probably old enough. But
I mean, I don't I know me and Cheyenne has talked about this before, but kids used to play with the Elmer's white glue and then peel the
oh my
things
goodness.
off.
Well, it's not like I did it intentionally, but like at arts and crafts, if you get on your fingers, it was like wax. It would like peel off.
Yeah, sometimes it was like that. And
Yeah.
it's crazy. But if it's not, if it was more of like a wax, I imagine
But
so
somebody was
painful.
bald. Me might be bald. I don't know. But
Mostly. The transformation sequences were created using lap dissolved photography. That is where one scene fades into the next, like literally,
like morphing.
like literally like an overlap almost.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. So, some of the movies that we thought would fit this kind of well, but it's kind of funny because it also reminds me of somewhere crazy, the Dracula side of things as well.
Well, we also I don't want to cut you off again,
No.
but I keep wanting to cut you off. Same.
That's fine. I mean, the movie I'm going to bring up makes more sense than you. Bring.
Well, what I was gonna say actually was for this one, because we're listing all these classic movie monsters, Wolfman is the main focus for the review part. We picked an extra movie. So the rest of the classic movie monsters, we list 2 movies. Wolfman,
one or
we list
two.
3.
I think it's
I think it's 2. This one we list 3. And the one that I thought of first is New Moon, part of the Twilight Saga, for good reason. I mean, it's Jacob Black. I love Taylor Lautner and his wife, Taylor Lautner, which is still so funny. No, I obviously I've said it time and again now that I do love the Twilight series, and I know you enjoy it for how corny and campy it gets.
so bad.
New Moon, I mean, if they kind of did the exact opposite of what this Wolfman movie did. They just put him like straight to a wolf. Like
Yeah,
he
it's
just
not-
runs and he's a wolf.
Yeah, it's not really Wolf Man. It's Man
No.
to Wolf.
It's Taylor Lautner being Jacob Black being a wolf. Like yeah, I love it. I think it's cool to see the whole wolf plan, and yeah, so that would be one of my choices to think of for like a modern take on seeing a werewolf in some degree, or like a wolf man.
Yeah,
This is literally a man wolf.
and I mean, like this also kind of touches on the whole vampire thing, but like with Dracula and stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
obviously, Edward being a vampire kind of ties into movie monsters in that same way, right? The one that I thought of that Cheyenne was like, I don't know.
So it wasn't my first choice because I just didn't genuinely think of it. But now I look back, I'm like, okay, it makes sense, but it has to be really niche.
Very in particular. So in the Harry Potter franchise, obviously there's so many different things that are introduced, but the one that me and Cheyenne and the one character me and Cheyenne both adore is Remus Lupin in Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I have his Remus's wand on my arm.
Right.
Tattoo.
And he's a werewolf.
Yeah.
It's something that you will fully see in the movie as well, but he is a werewolf. And so one of the things that I immediately thought of was like, what would be a good movie that portrays a werewolf? Somewhat Quinn does that really well.
Mhm.
And again, we love that character so much. Like we've had a hamster since passed, but somewhat
She
great
named her Remus.
Remus because I mean
She was a tiny little dwarf hamster, but she had that, like, gray-esque, like, fur on her, so
yeah,
in the
and
vibe.
so yeah, there's not really we could say so much about that character.
Mhm.
But
Even, like, Fenrir Greyback, he's in the
sure.
Harry Potter
Oh yeah,
series,
yeah. Didn't even think
but
about him.
he's way more noted in the book, so I'm curious for the new HBO TV show that they're gonna make, how much more Fenrir's gonna be in it, but, like, he's another werewolf that's notable in it.
Yeah, so
So,
any
yeah.
book nerds, if you wanted a good werewolf movie, that work. And then the final one.
Oh, yeah, final one. Again, it's a movie you have not seen yet,
Yeah.
but it came out, it's like 2010-ish maybe, but it was Red Riding Hood with Amanda Seyfried. I don't know the name of the guy in it, but, um, that is definitely, like, fairy tale movie monster,
Right.
um, like, fairy tale for sure. It's a good movie, not the best movie by any means. I preferred Wolfman to Red Riding Hood.
Oh,
I
really?
preferred Wolfman. But, like, Amanda Seyfried did pretty good in it, and she was giving very much the classic
Red
that is
Riding Hood.
Hood. Does she even have a first name, or is it just Red Riding?
I think
Red.
it's red.
Oh, I think that might be her name in it.
Red?
Yeah,
Makes
Touring
sense.
into the Woods
A
or
lot of
something.
things that do Red Riding Hood things, they just call her Red.
I know, that's kind of, like, hateful to the Red community. It's such
What community is that, Cheyenne?
Ah,
It's so
it's
funny.
any community. No, it's a decent enough movie, but if you're looking for something that's wolf-esque to some degree, that would be one of them.
Is it? All right,
It's such
there you
a
go. You want to bring up the next one?
Oh, yeah. I definitely can because this is one of my favorite classic movie monsters, The Mummy. The original being out in 1932, so it was prior to Wolfman.
Yep.
But after the first two. This one again portrayed by Boris Karloff. As I said, he was very well known in the classic movie monster scene.
I was just say the king of movie monsters over
He really was. He was one of the two. Lon Chaney Jr. being one, Boris Karloff being another. They were both very relevant in the movie monster scene back in the 30s and 40s.
here.
So Boris Karloff spent 8 hours in makeup for the bandage scenes, but he only appeared very briefly in that full mummy form. So it's very much like a couple different movies where the actors will spend an enormous amount of hours getting ready for a role that they're going to be in for like less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's the same. I believe it was definitely under 40 minutes for this. For
I
the
don't even think it's that long.
It's not that long. I'm saying it's
I want to say it's like a minute or 2 minutes.
like it's maybe 10, like if at the most. But either way, spent 8 hours to get ready for that. And I'm curious how they did that too. Because
They just wrapped them up in toilet paper. No, I know they
It was-
obviously did way more. This movie is also in black and white, so it's one of those things where
yeah.
color isn't really a factor.
No, so
But
they
they
could
had to make it
at least
look,
something that looked white or like a lighter color.
yeah, but they really had to make it look run down, peeling.
Yeah.
Right?
And it was obviously inspired by the 1920s discovery of King Tut's tomb. And then there was rumors, of course, that there was a curse that they found the mummy, and then there was people would be cursed by finding this tomb now. So yeah, I love the idea of the mummy. I've always loved ancient Egypt and the whole essence and facts stuff that surround mummies and the pyramids. I just love it so much. So this one's definitely a favorite for me.
For sure.
To get another gist of some movies that are in that realm, there's very two obvious ones. I'll let you kickstart that
Which one? The Mummy?
or the mummy.
Hey,
Okay,
Mummy or the
you
Mummy?
gotta figure that out.
But yeah, so the original one, the one that we grew up with was the Brendan Fraser Mummy.
When he was that they found the handsome man.
Yes. But I mean, also considering the resurgence we had of Brendan Fraser in the last.
Oh, I think I am so happy for him. He's doing so well, and I honestly could not be happier for him.
And I still wish we had seen that.
The whale?
The Batgirl movie that we were supposed to get, we didn't get. That the Warner Brothers canceled. You may not have.
Oh yes, I did know about this, but I just for that mummy movie specifically though. I mean, it's Brendan Fraser in the 90s. He was at his peak. Brendan Fraser,
But he was the Tom Cruise kind of before Tom Cruise was in this movie at least, and it's the acting is phenomenal. The invention was so
Vice in
good.
it,
I
yeah.
mean, I don't know, all of it just kind of worked so well with each other. The tone of the coloration of the film, worked really well with the movie, which I know I'm only going to say the lighting on it, but um,
Yeah,
or without being too technical, it's just the tones of the movie looked great. The acting was phenomenal. The story was so captivating. I remember this was a movie I was like, "Ooh, can we watch it again and again and again?"
Oh, it's like Indiana Jones. It gave me
Yeah,
the same vibe. I
exactly.
love, but that's adventure movies are one of my favorite movie genres next to horror. Adventure specifically, I would watch that. Like National Treasure, The Mummy, all of them, like Indiana Jones, any of those. I would love to just watch and watch and watch. This I wanted to become
Or
an archaeologist
so
right after this.
Indiana Jones did that for me.
Oh, see, for this one, I wanted to be like ancient Egyptologist because of this movie.
Fair enough.
All
right.
Not so much the next Mummy movie, which was the Tom Cruise Mummy movie, which had Sophia Boutella be the mummy.
Yes, and she also did a lot of um animation. Like, so she did a lot of CGI practice.
Also mentioned in the horror makeup show.
Oh, actually, to be fair, a lot of the facts that we brought up, Cheyenne did a lot of the research for, Lesnar, but a lot of it also is in that horror movie show. So
It's really cool.
if you ever get a chance to see it, I mean, I know we raved about it at the
Yeah.
end of this, but like a lot of these facts you'll get to one hear again, but two, you'll get to actually see all of the pictures and the videos that reinforce all of these facts as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Sorry, I
it's okay.
totally blanked for a hot second
It's
there.
okay. But yeah, the Tom Cruise movie with
Yeah, I did. I think it's Botello.
Tell him.
Yeah. But no, I actually didn't think it was bad. But again, they got really shitty rating. Like it was really bad. It was bad.
I think a lot of people thought it was going to be the Brendan Fraser movie. Like in terms of like,
because of Tom Cruise.
but it's very serious, right? This one is a much more serious tone, darker. Was supposed to start the Universal movies dark.
Yeah, it was supposed to start the whole classic movie revamp, and that went south
because of this movie.
Yeah, because of this movie. And like I still like because it still had the ancient Egypt vibes. It was definitely darker, nowhere near how much I loved Brendan Fraser's Mummy. But like I've rewatched it, I think a couple times overall, and I don't hate
I
it.
kind of still want to watch it again.
It's not a bad movie, but again, I like bad movies, so it might still be bad.
But I think that the expectation for this Mummy, was that of the Mummy with Brendan Fraser, and obviously it's not funny, it's not lighthearted, it is not like Wanderlust, right? Like this one is way more gritty, but like dark, serious.
It's like the Wolfman, but Wolfman was better. But the feel of it.
See, I like the Mummy better, the Tom Cruise one, more than the Wolf movie.
Yeah, no, I'd give you that. No, I would give you that. I'm just saying the tone of it, the darkness, of it is very Wolfman-esque.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, you want to do the last one? All right.
Sure, doesn't matter.
I'm sure. Yeah, because I think I did the Mummy.
I think I did, but I'll
You did. I'll do the Creature of the Black Lagoon. It came out in 1954. Well, you didn't have your chance to talk. The costume design was inspired by the sculpture of the Oscar, the statuette that you get.
Which is really cool.
Which makes
absolutely no sense.
Like I was gonna say, it makes no sense, but I kind of still see it, but no sense.
But is it because he's not like anatomically correct? So they just had a body?
I think
mind you, it says it's the sculpture of the Oscar statuette. So I don't know if the sculpture is different, but I'm pretty sure it's the same as the statuette. Anyway.
Actor Riku Browning played the creature in underwater scenes, holding his breath for up to 4 minutes, which Kate Winslet hasn't beat.
Hasn't?
Has him.
Has, yeah. Like 7?
Somewhere crazy.
It's because when she did Avatar: The Way of Water, she held her breath. I want to say
she beat Tom Cruise for that.
For a crap long a time. Yeah, like she did great.
Good on you, Kate Winslet. It was fucking amazing. This movie was one of the last great great movie monsters from the Universal age, Golden Age. Holy cow!
Do you want to repeat?
Basically, what it's saying is that
it was the last of the Golden Age of movie monsters.
Yeah, But I mean, I wish I kind of was around for when that happened in like the 1934.
Well, thankfully, this was 1954, so it was after the war, after the Great Depression.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I feel like it'd been so cool to be around when all of these amazing movie monsters came out.
And I Love Lucy was out then too. I mean, that's enough
for me.
That's enough. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and so some of the movies that we immediately thought that kind of fit in this range.
First one was the one I thought of. Second one was one you thought of,
Yeah, so
actually.
you can bring the first one up.
Okay. The Shape of Water was the one that I thought of.
So good.
Obviously not the creature from the Black Lagoon, but it's definitely an underwater creature that falls in love with a woman and vice versa.
Yeah, I think it fits the
I think
category
it
very
fits the
well.
category.
Obviously,
That's
I don't think it I don't think it's a one-to-one correlation, but
I think it's an excellent movie. I want to say it definitely won awards. I
it
don't
definitely went
know
on.
to what extent, but it deserved all of it. Even the visual effects, fantastic. Like what they did, and it's Doug Jones, isn't it?
As the monster, yeah.
Yeah, and freaking love Doug Jones.
Well, Doug Jones is basically the Boris Karloff
Yeah.
of the modern era.
And yeah, literally though, actually very, very spot on because he's also for any TV show fans of What We Do in the Shadows by FX, he is like the head vampire,
Yeah, Baron Afron.
Baron Afronas.
Yeah. But then he's also isn't he the one in Hocus Pocus as well?
Yeah, and he's the zombie or not like
The undead
undead guy.
oh, man. I'll put his name somewhere, the actual character.
The undead guy though.
Yeah. But yeah, so
Billy Bones.
Billy Bones. Yeah, but Doug Jones, amazing, phenomenal. Anything that he touches, pretty much any creature
Gonna win.
he touches just comes to life so beautiful.
It's like him and see
And
these
Andy
see these guys. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, also a guy, yeah, exactly. That kind of brings any creature
See these Caesar, Gollum. Like you could just keep going. He's and as an actor, it's himself too. He's a brilliant actor.
Yeah.
And he talks so nice.
Oh, I'd like to see. I don't know if there is a movie with both of them in it, but I would love to see them.
Could you imagine that? One of them they could alternate by
One
who's
is
the
human, one
CGI and who's the
All right, and then the second movie that we thought of was Monsters vs. Aliens, which is again a kids movie. We were trying to pick kids movies as well, just to kind of like go, okay, what would be the equivalent to this, but for kids to kind of take in.
100%.
Right?
Which is great. I would never have thought of this movie had you not explained the scene again. I've only seen it maybe twice, and it's a long time ago.
Yeah, and so just well, the character in particular is called the Missing Link, right? And the Missing Link in that movie is very much to me, the creature of the Black Lagoon, right? Like the idea that there is a link between the fish us and the human us, and so right. So, but I don't know. I thought it was very funny, very lighthearted. It's a little bit more on the grassier side. Let's say Hotel Transylvania. Hotel Transylvania is more like kid friendly. This is kind of like your pre-teen age.
It's like the adult humor peppered in to a lot of those.
Yeah, kind of like a Shrek or like a Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, it's like Mike Myers, Cat in the Hat, very much so.
But yeah,
just some really random facts, but like those are some really well-known movie monsters. Obviously, there's like the Bride of Frankenstein. You really want to get nitpicky. King Kong is a universal monster.
Well, but Godzilla also.
So
there's
that's
still
a whole other thing. We were picking the basic. At least in my mind, I think for when Epic Universe opens their classic movie section, these ones will probably be in it, as well as the Invisible Man. The creature from the Black Lagoon, I don't know if they're going to do anything with it. I didn't get that far. But yeah, if you go on their website, you'll see a lot of interesting facts about what's to come at that park with classic movie monsters. And I'm sure Wolfman will be one of them.
And then also, like, not to make this an ad for Universal, the whole Epic Universe park that they're opening up, Nintendo, another pair,
How to Train Your Dragon,
another section of Harry Potter,
the Ministry of Magic.
There's another one, right?
There's a whole section there's a fluff in my face. Stardust Racers is going to be a ride in a celestial section, which is going to link to their new hotels. I just love how fast they build stuff as well.
Yeah. But then also just in general, man, like I think classic movie monsters are a fun thing to like
I love
onto. Kind of like, I don't know, like when I think of classic movie monsters, the first one that always pops in my mind is The Mummy by Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, but I also think these like classic movie monster movies, I find that people who don't even like horror can appreciate them because they think back to the old versions where it's like, oh, it's that like kind of monster. But it's not. Like they've made it a little creepier, obviously, over the years. But like even my parents who do not like horror movies in the slightest would appreciate a good Dracula or Frankenstein movie, even if it was like the old one, like the black and white.
Yeah, I would recommend any kind of classic movie monster. So whether it's like, for example, as crazy and scarier like even Victor Frankenstein, which I'm assuming is a lot more like
That's on the darker side.
right. Or
Dracula.
we go to Hotel Transylvania, which is definitely not.
No, and they've made 4 now?
Oh, or
Yeah, because the 4th one wasn't Adam Sandler.
which is such a shame.
Yeah, I don't really know the specifics of that, but the guy who voiced Drac did such a good job. Like, he's really famous online in social circles.
But the point that I'm trying to get at is like whether you're just starting out in horror or you're just or you're even just like, you know what, I want some like kind of harmless. If you're a horror fan but you want like a harmless horror movie, this kind of fits that vibe, right?
I guess so. And don't ask the victims that, but like
I mean, they're also not real.
Dracula.
There is no Frankenstein's monster shy.
I don't know.
Fair. But
We don't know.
yeah.
AI. We don't know what AI is
oh,
doing.
don't even. I mean, one day I guess, but like, I'd rather not think of Dr. Frankenstein being a robot and the Frankenstein monster being someone brought from the dead.
Like Chat GPT. It'll be like Chat Great Pharaoh's tomb or something.
Gosh.
Something.
Yeah, they're gonna dig up a grave somewhere, and it's actually just a computer, and ChatGPT is gonna be running.
That's How to Frame a Fake, the Don Knotts movie. If anyone knows,
What do you mean?
they dig up a computer.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
I'm gonna have to watch this.
I'm going into a whole other tangent. It's an old movie with Don Knotts, if you know of the actor, and he did a bunch of movies through MCA Universal. One of them dealt with a giant, like the old 70s computers.
But they dug
They
that up.
buried Leo, which was the name of the computer, and they had to dig him up because they needed some data from that computer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And yeah, anyway, I'll explain this to him after, but you know.
But yeah, so I guess that's the end of our episode. I know, wow, 2 episodes back to back that are shorter than an hour.
But we got a lot of good info in, I think.
Yeah, we did this time. But just to kind of give a quick thing for everyone, our opinions are just our opinions. So, like, if for example we liked the Wolf, we could recommend on the Wolf. Some people might go, "Wow, actually, you guys suck, and this movie is amazing," or people will go watch and be like, "This movie sucked ass, and why are we watching this?"
Yeah.
So, like, just keep in mind, like, I know for us, it's we give our review, but like, if you want to go watch the movie, go watch the movie, man.
It's not even like the ratings were that high this week either.
No.
But we still watched because for us, this is not just aside from podcast. We just love going to the theater. So just if you can support your movie theaters, keep them open, keep them running. Don't just switch to a streaming service.
Exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong, streaming services are fun.
They're fantastic, and there's a lot of things that are made for Apple TV, made for Netflix, etc.
Exactly. But at the same time, the experience of the theater is very different than the experience at obviously on your couch or on your bed at home watching Netflix.
Yeah, which we appreciated the theater we went to today. They left it like how it looked even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It was great. It had the old like bubble 3D numbers for your
Yeah.
And also this weekend we went to a Cineplex theater, but they were offering free small popcorn with your movie ticket, which is a great incentive for people to go to the movies.
Well, it's also because it was National Popcorn Day this week.
Oh well, screw me, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But like for example,
But we got a free small popcorn.
But for example, Cineplex also on Tuesday this month is doing it for $5 each.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, like what we're trying to get at is the experience at the theater is very different. But if you want to go watch the movie because you believe our review is something that you'd be interested in, great. If it's something where you want to prove us wrong and think that our review is crap, then that's great.
Come at us. Like I'm fine with it.
Exactly.
We would enjoy the banter because we banter each other. Like how we do every day is how you see it. But if you want to banter with us, go for it.
Yeah.
We're both active on our social medias. You may get a response from us.
Exactly.
With our name on it, we'll let you know.
If you are trying to egg us on and we're trying to get a response and we don't, not because your response is bad. It's just sometimes we just are really bad at responding people on social media too.
It's not even social media. Like I'm just bad on my phone in general with texting people back. And I apologize to the people, you know who you are.
Yeah. So
anyway.
But given the social media thing, I'll do the social media shill again. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. Full length video every Tuesday. I try to be at 8 a.m. We'll see.
We've got it pretty much started, so it was good last week.
Right. And then, kind of like I said earlier, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Reels for all of the shorts and our pop and flops.
Yeah, on Instagram and Threads. We have Threads. We also have Letterboxd now.
Oh yes.
So it is the A List Pod on Letterboxd. And if you don't know what Letterboxd is, it's like a movie journal app. So anytime we see a movie, we're gonna put the movie on there, give you our stars from 1 to 5. Could be halves as well, and the day we see it. So you'll get an updated list on there and just like a quick overview of 1 to 5 stars of the movie we saw and what day.
Yeah, and I know it gives you an option to like comment on why you think it's a rating.
Yeah.
But that's this podcast.
Yeah. So
So
for us, it's just stars. It's just a visual look at it. Like we have, we're actually going to be adding Wolfman in one of them days today. So you will see them on there.
and we'll update it to whatever we saw this year. Because sorry, we should say we're only we could go back and review every fucking movie that we've seen in our lifetime, but that'll take too long. And for this podcast's sake, we're just doing this year and then every year that this podcast is active.
Yeah. And then we have the latter half of the episodes, for the most part, will be movies that we do bring back, but not to the essence of every freaking movie we've seen for 30 years or 27 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be that. But
If we do a rewatch, we'll add that in there.
Yeah.
Sure. But the idea is more just as we're following along this year and you guys are following along with us, we'll update our letterbox to match.
yeah. And of course, the first like 3 movies on Letterboxd are the last week of December.
Yeah.
Because that's what we kind of did. You'll get the gist if you watch the first episode.
Exactly. Second episode.
Second episode, first for movie reviews.
There you go.
It's episode 2.
But yeah, so then if you want to follow us on all social media, which is Instagram, YouTube, TikTok,
We have,
Facebook, Threads, Twitter.
It's at A-List Admission. And if you don't find it that way, it's at the A-List Pod on Twitter and Letterboxd for sure.
And then on the sites that you can, like, follow, subscribe,
Share.
ring the notification bell because I know that's a new
Yeah,
thing.
do like word of mouth really helps us out.
Yeah,
We love doing the reels. We love doing this podcast. We'd love to keep doing it. And if you guys enjoy it as much as we enjoy it, then that makes it worth it for us.
exactly. So kind of like what Cheyenne said, tell all your friends, all your family, all your coworkers that are interested in movies, even in the slightest, or some people that you're like, oh, they're looking for a date night. Tell them to go watch this podcast.
Yeah, because our goal in posting 8 a.m. on Tuesdays is Tuesday's cheap night. We want you guys to go see these movies that night.
Exactly. So especially because, like I said, January $5 on Tuesdays, it's perfect, right? This podcast is made for the Tuesday cheap night, right?
Yeah, it's made for cheap people.
Yeah, we're cheap people. We don't want to. I mean, we're spending the money for the podcast and for you guys because you know what, our hard-earned money is going to fund this thing, and so, yeah, like we will always recommend movies that we think are phenomenal,
Mhm.
and we'll tell you when a movie's meh and whether a movie's bad.
Yeah.
And so please, if you know anybody that would be interested in listening to the podcast, please shove it in their faces, tell them. And yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I was
No.
going to say. No?
Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, and then subscribing.
Yeah, and then we'll see you at the movies.
Bye.